Good evening and namaste to all my viewers and others. Dear students, you all are welcome to the Genius Lakshya, the live show of the session. This is the second presentation on the Central Bureau of Investigation. Today we will understand the functions of the Central Bureau of Investigations, the training academy of the Central Bureau of Investigation, and which are the various matters of the Central Bureau of Investigation. This is absolutely an important topic because many times you will get many questions from this topic, and it becomes very important to know that in order to protect the country from corruption, such organizations plays a great role in combating the corruption. Central Bureau of Investigation is fundamentally working against the corruption. It fights against the corruption. It is combating against the corruption of the central government employees. So, in order to minimize the corruption, in order to stop the corruption, the Central Bureau of Investigation plays a very crucial role in our country. Also, it plays an important role as a part of Interpol in our country. So, in my first presentation, we have already understood the Central Bureau of Investigation's fundamentals. Today, we will understand details of Central Bureau of Investigation, wherein we will understand the function, the vision, the mission, the motto of the organization, the training, how are they trained, what type of training is imparted by the Central Bureau of Investigations, which are the regional centers, where is the head office, and where is the training office. So all are very important. And also we will understand some of the important upholds of the Supreme Court of India. What the Supreme Court of India says about the Central Bureau of Investigation, and which are the different type of conditions where the Central Bureau of Investigation also takes off the various cases of the state governments, because the name itself suggests that it is for the central government employees. But yes, we will understand here that in certain cases, central government also approves the matter to the Central Bureau of Investigation to take on various matters. Okay, so it basically works for corruption, it works against corruption, it tries to minimize corruption. In addition to that, it also works for fundamental crimes like murders, like rapes, and other conventional crimes are also investigated by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So absolutely, this is a very important organization of our country, and it is playing a great role in minimizing the corruption in our country. Okay, so if you have any doubts and query, definitely you can write me on my email ID, rohit rohitshika at geniusschool.co.in for your doubts regarding topic, regarding career. If you have any confusion, then feel free to write me. You will get the answer. Okay. So let's start the presentation of the day. Then whether it is visible, let me know so that we will go ahead. So this is second presentation of CBI a very well known department of our country. You must have heard, you must have seen officers in various movies also. So today the topic is Central Bureau of Investigation, presentation number 2. Yes, it is visible and audible. So let's go ahead and try to understand the topic in the best possible practical way, because we know that in order to protect the nation from corruption, from murder, from rapes, and from so many heinous antisocial activities, the Central Bureau of Investigation plays a very, very crucial role. Okay, so let's start. Test is absolutely the best. The more you appear the test, the best you are. So, again, there is a test for you. The function of the CBI is to investigate cases of corruption, bribery, and misconduct of state government employees. Is the first statement. Whether this is a right statement or wrong statement, then the Central Bureau of Investigation does not take up investigation of conventional crimes like murder, like kidnapping, like rape. Whether right or wrong, then the Central Bureau of Investigation is not a multidisciplinary investigation agency of the government of India. Then, whether this is a right statement or a wrong one, the Central Bureau of Investigation does not maintain crime statistics or crime records, and it does not disseminate criminal information. Right statement or wrong one, then the Central Bureau of Investigation acts. It functions as a National Central Bureau of Interpol in India. The Central Bureau of Investigations Academy, the CBI Academy, is located at Bangalore in the state of Karnataka. Whether this is a right statement, then the CBI is required to obtain prior approval, prior permission of the central government before conducting any inquiry or any kind of investigation into an offense, into a crime committed by officers of the rank of joint secretary or above the joint secretary in the central government and its authorities. Means the Central Bureau of Investigation needs permission of the central government before investigating an offense committed by an officer. The rank of the officer is Joint Secretary or above the Joint Secretary of the central government. True statements or false statement. So let's start it from the function. It plays various functions, but some of the important functions are like it is an investigating agency, so it investigates many cases of corruption, many cases of bribery, misconduct of central government employees. This is the primary function of the Central Bureau of Investigation. Also, it investigates, the CBI investigates cases relating to infringement of fiscal and economic laws, that is, breach of laws concerning export and import control, customs, central excise, income tax, foreign exchange, regulation, and so on. So also the CBI plays a very, very important role in all these aspects. However, the CBI has to take cases, or the CBI takes case either in consultation with or at the request of the department concerned. Whenever the department, let's say these are the various departments: customs, central excise, income tax, foreign exchange, and so on. If the department requests the Central Bureau of Investigation to take up the matter, to take up any offense, to take up any case, then yes, the CBI takes up the case. Then, in investigating serious crimes, it always investigates the serious crimes having national and international ramifications committed by organized gangs of professional crimes. If there is a gang of criminals, these gangs generally commit various criminal activities. So, CBI investigates all such crimes committed by the gangs of professional criminals. Also, CBI coordinates the activities of the anti-corruption agencies and the various state police forces. The CBI also takes up cases on the request of the state government. If a particular state government requests the Central Bureau of Investigation to take up the case, then any case of public importance for investigation, then on the request of the state government, the CBI takes up the case of the state. Also, CBI takes up on the request of the state government cases of public importance. Sorry, it is already discussed. It also maintains crime statistics and it disseminates the criminal information. So generally it also maintains the records of the criminals. Then the Central Bureau of Investigation is not a single disciplinary investigating agency, rather it plays varieties of roles. So it is a multidisciplinary investigation agency. Why? Because it plays multiple functions, varieties of functions of the Government of India, and the CBI undertakes investigation of corruption related to cases, economic offenses, cases of conventional crime. All these are the varieties of cases, and all these varieties of cases are investigated by the Central Bureau of Investigation. The CBI normally confines, it fixes its activity in anti-corruption field to offenses committed by the employees of the central government. The Central Bureau of Investigation takes up investigation of conventional crimes like murder, kidnapping, rape, on the reference from the state government when directed by the Supreme Court or High Court. So, CBI also takes the matters of murder, kidnap, and rape. But when the state government requests the CBI for the same, and when the Supreme Court of India or High Court of India directs the CBI to take the investigation. The CBI acts as a National Central Bureau or NCB of Interpol of India. Interpol is a collection of investigating agency of the whole world where approximately 194 countries are there and they coordinate and they help each other regarding the investigation matter. The Interpol wing of the Central Bureau of Investigation coordinates requests for investigation related to activities originating from Indian law enforcing agencies and the member countries of the Interpol. So there are 194 member countries. So fundamentally CBI coordinates with all the countries. Now let's see what is prior permission or what is provision of prior permission. It means before doing anything, one has to take permission. Is prior permission. So the Central Bureau of Investigation is required to obtain prior approval of the central government before starting any kind of investigation. The CBI needs permission from the central government for conducting any inquiry or any investigation into an offense committed by officers, and the rank is joint secretary and above the joint secretary of the central government and its authorities. So without the permission of central government, the joint secretary and above joint secretary cannot be investigated. However, on May 2014, the Supreme Court of India held as invalid. Means, in order to investigate joint secretary and above joint secretary, CBI needs permission from the central government. But the Supreme Court held that it is not right approach, it is invalid. The legal provision that makes prior sanction mandatory for the Central Bureau of Investigation to conduct a probe against senior bureaucrats in corruption cases under the PC Act or Prevention Act 1988. Means the Supreme Court said that permission should not be required from the central government to initiate any kind of investigation against the senior-most government officers. Again, the constitutional bench say that Section 6A of Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, this is an act. This is an act of India, and this act grants protection to the joint secretary and above the joint secretary from facing even preliminary inquiry. Means even inquiry cannot be initiated, cannot be started against joint secretary and above the joint secretary level government officers by the Central Bureau of Investigation in corruption. So the bench says that if this is the provision, if the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act is protecting these officers, then it is absolutely a violation of Article 14. Article 14 says that all the citizens of our country are equal before law. Welcoming the court order, the CBI director appreciated it, and the CBI director gave the statement. What is the statement? Let's see. The CBI director says that it is a landmark judgment, means it is very, very important judgment of the Supreme Court of India that will empower the agency. Why it will empower the agency? Because if CBI will function under the permission of the central government, then it will not function independently. So the director has appreciated it. in the investigation into several cases pending due to the provision that has now been struck down by the constitutional bench. We had for long been for view that inquiry against senior officers or officials need not require any kind of prior permission. If prior permission is required, then it will be dependent. CBI will be dependent. So the director says that there are so many cases and the cases are pending because CBI needs permission from the central government to initiate the investigation against these senior officials of government of India. Now see, the Chief Justice of India has given a written statement. He says that corruption is an enemy of our nation. Absolutely, this is correct. And tracking down corrupt public to track, to check the corrupt government officers and public servants, whosoever may be the most senior officer or junior officer, he may be a high officer, on pushing such person is necessary mandate under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Again, the Chief Justice of India says that the status of position of a doer not qualify the person from exemption from equal treatment. Means whether a senior officer or a junior officer, they should be investigated equally. The decision maker means the senior officer does not segregate corrupt officers into two classes. Decision makers, generally, the parliament is the decision making body of our country. It does not segregate, means classify corruption officers into two classes as they are common crime doers, because senior officers and junior officers, they do the same level of crimes and have to be tracked down by same process and inquiry and investigation. So this is a very welcoming statement by the Chief Justice of India to promote, to protect, to make Central Bureau of Investigation independent. Also, the bench of the Supreme Court says that Section 6A of Delhi Special Protection Establishment, this act protects the officers of Joint Secretary and above the Joint Secretary, is directly destructive and runs the counters to the object and reason of the PC Act 1988, the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. It also undermines the objects of detecting, punishing high-level corruptions. How can two public servants against whom there are allegations of corruption or graft or bribe taking, criminal misconduct under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 be made to be differently, because one person is junior officer and the other one is a senior officer. So the bench is saying that whether senior officer or junior officer, they should be equally treated as far as the investigation of the criminal offense or the corruption is concerned. The provision in Section 6A impedes tracking down of the corrupt senior bureaucrats as without previous approval of the central government, the CBI cannot even hold preliminary inquiry. Means Section 6A is protecting the officers because investigation cannot be initiated or started against the government senior officers without the permission of the central government. Much less an investigation into the allegation. The protection under Section 6A has propensity of shielding the corrupt. Means this Section 6A is protecting the corrupt practices of the government of India. The bench added. Also, the bench observed that the aim and objective of the CBI is to fight against corruption, to bring truth, to maintain law, and the Article 14 means equality before law should not be breached, should not be broken. So, if such practices are there, then this is absolutely against Article 14. Now we will understand CBI versus State Police. State police establishment shall take up such cases which are essentially and substantially concerned with the central government's officials and employees, even if they also involve certain state government employees. The special police establishment shall take up cases against employees of public undertaking, statutory bodies, establishment financed by the central government. Now let's see the training center of CBI, that is CBI Academy. The Central Bureau of Investigation Academy is located at Ghaziabad in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and this academy started functioning in 1996. Before this 1996, the training of CBI officers were being conducted at the CBI Training Center, headquarters, New Delhi. The vision of CBI is excellence training in the field of crime investigation, prosecution, and vigilance functioning. And the mission is to train the human resource of the Central Bureau of Investigation, to train the state police, to train the vigilance organizations, to become professional, to become industrious, to impart, to be impartial, to be upright and dedicated to the service of the nation. The Central Bureau of Investigation Academy is the focal point of training activities within the organization and is responsible for identification of suitable training programs. It makes training programs, regulations for nomination of trainees who should be a part of the training, and preparation of the annual training calendar. So generally it conducts two type of training. One is short term and another one is long term. So in addition to is CBI Academy at Ghaziabad, there are three other regional training centers in India. One is in Kolkata, Mumbai and Chennai. These are three regional training centers. but the main training center is Ghaziabad. There are two types of training program conducted or imparted by the CBI Academy. One is short-term training in service course, and second one is long-term basic training. The short-term training in service course. This training is for all the officers of CBI, for state police, for central paramilitary force, and central government undertakings. And the long-term basic course is a training for directly recruited, directly appointed deputy superintendents of police, sub-inspectors, and constables of Central Bureau of Investigation. So we discussed and we completed the topic CBI, very, very important topic. I'm sure you must have understood the topic in detail and depth. So let's start the question answer session. The functions of the CBI is to investigate cases of corruption, bribery, misconduct of state government of India. Absolutely, this is wrong. This is not state government, but the central government. But yes, based on the request of the state government, the central government also takes up such investigation. But this is false here. The CBI does not take up investigation of conventional crimes like murder, kidnapping, and rape. Wrong. It does take. Sorry, this is false. The Central Bureau of Investigation is not a multidisciplinary investigation agency of the central government. Wrong. It is a multidisciplinary agency. It plays varieties of functions. The CBI does not maintain crime statistics and disseminate criminal records. Wrong, because it maintains the criminal records and disseminates criminal information also. CBI acts as a National Center Bureau, NCB, of Interpol of India. Absolutely right. CBI is the NCB of Interpol of India. The Central Bureau of Investigation Academy is located in Bengaluru. Wrong answer. It is located in Ghaziabad of Uttar Pradesh. The CBI is required to obtain the prior approval of the central government before conducting any inquiry or investigation into an offence committed by the office of the rank of junior secretary and above in the central government and its authorities. True. So now you share your okay. Chintan Devang before presentation 5, after presentation 100%. Sujal after presentation 100%, before presentation 4. Chintan before presentation 3, after presentation 7. So today we completed the topic CBI. If you have any doubt and query, definitely you can write me on my email ID, and don't forget to go to the CBI website for detail and depth. The best information and every information on the government website are valid, and we should refer it, because there are varieties of information available on net, but all the information is not valid and not correct. So it is always advisable to refer to the government website for more information. Thank you. Till then, take care. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.